Hi, I'm Mr. Davis, and welcome to another episode. So, I've been getting this question lately from a lot of guys asking how did I ever get my parents, especially like my mother, to come around to like love and accept me for who I am, and especially my transition. So, if you haven't heard some of my backstory that I put out a video earlier, that my mother and I had a rough time accepting my whole transition, and it was really bad, like very bad. But to answer this question, listen to the story. So, as I explaining, like after my whole fallout with my mother, where I was like kicked out, financially cut off, and all these other things alike, from then I just decided, like, you know what? If you cannot accept me for me, then I don't need you in my life. Now, this is big for a lot of people because it's just like, oh, how can you not talk to your mother and all these other things? Like when I say like I cut her off and cut her out of my life, it did hurt to one extent, but I refuse to keep going back and being disrespected, not accepted at all, and like take her abuse and hear all of her mouth and all these other things. So, for people out there to learn how I did it, because also remember there is a happy ending. Now my mother and I's relationship is very better. She actually calls me as her son. She corrects other people. She's one of my biggest advocates. Like I said, it's crazy. Like she was my biggest hater and now she's my biggest supporter. But the steps of how I did that, I will share with you now in this video. So, first step, I created a boundary. That means like I put a line in the sand and I made sure not even her or no other people cross that line. So my boundary was that if you cannot call me Khalil Kenneth Davis, address me by my preferred and especially legal name that I got changed, that we don't need to talk. I don't need you in my life. Like, why would I keep subjecting myself to that type of abuse, negativity, and all those other things as well? Like, no, I'm not living that life. And to think about it, and also remember, after I create this boundary, the most important thing after creating a boundary is making sure that you stick with it and let people know that you're very serious. Because if you keep setting a boundary and you keep letting people cross it, then they know you're not serious. And most of all, they're not going to respect you. When you create boundaries, people, and you hold tight to them, people respect you. So you gotta have to do that and weather the storm. So for example, as I always say, I use my own stories. There will be times that like my mother will feel bad after she hasn't spoken to me in a while. She'll call me up and be like, hey, how you doing? But then she'll say like she's fine and accepting it, but then she will always go back on her word. So like if I had my girlfriend around me, it would just like drive her insane and be like, why are you throwing like all this gay stuff in my face? How can you be with a woman like that? And then even try to like talk to my girlfriend, be like, how can you accept this person as that? Like, I'm surprised like you're not bullying them. And so to me, I would be pissed off. And it's like, so now you're disrespecting me and now you're disrespecting my partner. Like, who do you think you are? We're not having that. So as soon as she would start that talk, I would hang up and be like, you know what, bye. I don't need to talk to you. And then I would not answer it. So that means like I will have to weather the storm. My mother would throw temper tantrums. As I keep saying, like she would go back on her word, throw temper tantrums. And through all these things, and no matter like how much it would hurt me sometimes, like, because of course, everybody wants to love and respect from their parents. Like you've been with them, they raised you, and of course you always remember the good times. But at this point in my life, all those good times is not worth the aftermath of me encountering a situation with my mother, aka like coming home severely depressed, like to the point just crying and tired of like not being treated and disrespected. Like, come on. So no. So I'll repeat this. Create a boundary and stick to that boundary, weathering the storm. So anytime my mother would act up with all that negativity and that gay bashing, I would hang up, click, not take any phone calls. I definitely made sure I did not take a dime from her, all these other things. Like, no, I was on my own. I dipped. So that's the first step. Now, after I created this boundary and I made sure I stuck with it, these are the thoughts and the mindset that I created for myself to make sure that I was protected. Because at the end of the day, yes, This is your parents, and especially if you're from a minority community like me, black families and all those things, it is instilled in you from day one to always respect and obey your parents. Like, of course, if you ever thought about like cussing for them, talking back, whatever, it was like slap or like whatever. Like, you knew you were in trouble, you knew you were getting that ass whooping whatsoever. But mind you, I was transitioning around in college, and I'm hitting like 2021, and it's just, to me, like, how long should I be a child compared to establish my independence as an adult? Like, of course, I'm very appreciative that you brought me into this world, that you raised me, but this choice that I'm making for myself, that's making me happier and a better person, finally like clicking and idealing in my own world, you're not accepting. And then on top of that, you're not accepting. Now like you're bashing me and calling me all these things. Like, no, that's toxic abuse. And as an adult for myself, I'm not putting myself in those situations, and neither should you. So understand that. Like, what is the point that you stop being a child and you become adult and you're able to talk to your parents like a human being and actually demanding and commanding that respect for yourself of them talking to you as an adult as well? Like, my parents, as I always say in my head too, that they lived their life. And of course, they have ideals of who they wanted their child to be, but life does not work out that way. What you always plan, something might happen. And at the end of the day, I understand that she wanted a daughter and have all these memories. That's not the life plan, because I am not a daughter. I am a man. I am your son. Like, I am a brother. So no, but you have to respect those things. And also think about it too. So if I thought about my mother as like a person or like even a girlfriend, and I was telling my friend the situation that she would not accept me, she keeps bashing me and all these other things, the advice that you would give your friend is to leave that person, right? So now as your parents, what makes it different just because like you're their mother? No, like nobody should ever accept negativity and toxic stuff in their life. I do not allow it. I cut it out within an instant, and I made sure that everybody knew that point, especially beyond my mother and everybody around me. So, and that also helped me gain that confidence to help correct other people whenever they try to misgender me or try to disrespect me in some other matter. So it's just like, if I'm going to allow my mother to misgender me and bash me, who the hell you think you are that I'm going to allow you to do the same to me? No, this is my life. This is what I wanted to do. This makes me ultimately happy, and I'm going to stick with it. So that's what I always say. And I will always continue to repeat that if you're trying to bash me, whatever, I don't need you in my life. I will be happy. I will do fine on my own, and you will see me successful. Peace. Not accepting. You have to be willing to detach yourself. I know it's scary. Go on the independent journey of becoming adult and stand on your own 2 feet. Because at the end of the day, your parents do have to let go of holding your hand, and you have to experience life by yourself. So go do it. And might as well, why don't you do things that make you happy, like transitioning, instead of being home, severely depressed like I was, contemplating suicide like I would, and even attempted as well, than to just go on about my day and be so much happier. Because I say these things too, that once I chose my happiness and I wasn't even talking to my parents, I experienced so much joy in my life, it's not even funny. So that means there's like no more stressful phone calls of picking up and her trying to decide to how much she will want to bash me today. Like, you're still continuing doing your transition, you're still doing this. Like, no, now I don't have to hear none of that. Like, you understand, like, it was a relief for me. Seriously. I was so much happier. Like, it's crazy. And I was so mad at myself that I did not realize these things sooner. So, this is why I give you this advice and these things as well. Too, remember that like bitter, haters, and salty people, when they see you happy and you doing your things that you want to do, they change their tone so quick in their life, it's not even funny. Like when my mom would have to like go through my brother or other people to see what I was doing, because I literally would not answer her phone calls. I would not even speak to her. I just act like she did not exist, all these things. She would ask so many questions of so many people like, oh, how's Khalil doing? Like, is he okay? All these other things. And it's just like, wow. So you're still trying to see in my life, but you couldn't accept me for that. So remember that when people are bitter and hating, they don't want to be bitter alone, especially when everybody else is on the bad bandwagon. Like my brother and my other friends and all my community are laughing, celebrating my success. And of course, my mom seeing me winning. I'm still graduating. I'm still getting a job. I'm still taking care of myself. They change their story real quick because they don't want to be that person left out. Because remember, nobody in society wants to be left out. So of course, that's when she was starting to learn from a combination of all my steps of one, creating a boundary and sticking with it. It instilled in her and let her know that this is not a phase and that I'm very serious about the person I am, and this is not changing. Whether you like it or not, my transition bus or my transition train, my transition train is still moving with or without you. Secondly, her understanding this also created in her mind and let her know that I'm an adult now. So it's not me following everything that she had to say or being scared or falling back into a line. Like, no, I am enjoying my life and I'm tired. I am sick and tired of being miserable under this oppression. I'm not standing for it. So after all, and then once she saw that everybody else accepted me, loved me, I'm laughing, I'm so having fun, I'm so having a great time without her, all those combinations realized that what her mentality or her idea of it not being accepted and loved, especially like under the eyes of God or whatever, as she would try that religious garb, she knew that it was not worth losing her child. And slowly but surely, because mind you, this has been 2 years of us like fighting, that she just released and let go. And then she just opened her arms and started to love me again and really learn more about transitioning, learning more about the transgender community, being more openly about it to her friends and stuff like that. And she changed her story really quickly, and like I said, she became very open, started to learn more about transitioning, more about the transgender community, LGBT stuff, starting to find more things that we can have in common and discuss, and it's been great. And remember, like I said, stick to your boundary, stay with it, because my mother tried to do all things like guilt tripping me, saying like, oh, she's sick, or oh, she misses me, or you haven't heard from this, or why don't you care, why don't you do this. Like, she tried it all. I mean all. And I stuck to it and I ignored it all and I kept pushing, moving forward my transition. So I encourage you to do the same. So, and now, like I said, it was a bumpy road. It's been 2 years us off and on fighting everything, but then at the end of the day, it was very rewarding because I got what I wanted. Like, both parties won. I was able to transition happily and live on my own life, and now I got my mom on board, and now even my dad's been really trying to like hit me up, talk to me, and do all these things, calling me like Khalil, and even introducing him like me to like his friend. And mind you, this guy's a cop, so of course like all that scared and homophobia stuff, he was able to learn and push past it. So this is why I'm saying, and I will say it again, create your boundary, stick to it, and let parents know that you're serious. This is not a phase. This is what you're doing. And that if you cannot respect and love me for who I am, I don't need you. So, I hope this story helps. And just remember, continue to be you and do you, because you know that your transition is not a phase and this is a part of your happiness. Continue to choose yourself and your happiness over the opinions of other people. You will not regret it. You'll be so much happier and you'll live a happier life. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you. So if you have any more questions, continue to email me at mr.transcapitalist@gmail.com. If you like this video, please make sure that you like. It does count and is important. If you love this video and you think other people would benefit it, please make sure that you share this video to other people. It's time that we continue to keep helping ourselves within our community and moving forward. And also, for more answers to questions and learning more about my having a successful, happy, amazing transition, please make sure that you follow and subscribe to the Trans Capitalist YouTube channel.